WNC, World News Central. I'm Daniel Rivas, and tonight we have a very special guest with us, President Woodrow Wilson, to discuss his foreign policy. President, good to have you on set.
Thanks, Daniel. Good to be on set.
So, what is your approach on foreign relations?
Well, I want to help the republics of Latin America achieve stable democratic governments in order to improve the living conditions of their people.
And what is your view on imperialism and foreign nations?
I believe imperialism is immoral, but I feel obligated to do it in order to sustain and protect American interests abroad. I want to spread the gospel of American democracy in order to enlighten the ignorant. I once told a British diplomat, I'm going to teach the South American republics to elect good men.
That's very interesting. Now, I hear you had some problems in Mexico. Can you tell me a little more on that?
Well, you see, Daniel, dictator after dictator, Mexico was in tense times. In 1911, the dictator Porfirio Diaz was overthrown by a military man, Francisco Madero, who then became a president. He was committed to economic reform and drafting a democratic constitution. Although he was very weak-willed, and a month before my election, he was overthrown by Victoriano Juarez, one of his generals.
I hear you wanted to maintain the stability that foreign investors desired, which most European powers recognized. Why didn't you?
I sympathize with the government of Madero, whose murder horrified me. I will not recognize a government of butcherers.
So, how did the incident with the American sailors affect the situation?
Well, it gave me a reason to send troops into Mexico after the sailors were arrested. The invasion took place in Veracruz, but the Mexicans resisted until they had suffered 400 casualties. Then, General Carranza entered Mexico City in triumph.
Did this government end up working?
No, it did not. It failed even more than Huerta. This resulted in Pancho Villa taking over the government.
So, did you make the right decision by taking Villa's word?
No, in fact it was a huge mistake. He ended up having no other objective than having personal power. So Carranza fought back and drove Villa to the north.
So, what happened next?
I recognized the extent of Carranza's influence in Mexico, only causing Villa to seek to undermine Carranza by forcing the U.S. to intervene. He then stopped a train in northern Mexico and killed 16 American passengers. And then he crossed into New Mexico and burned the town of Columbus, killing 19. I wanted to bear this assault in silence, but the public forced me to send troops under General John J. Pershing across the border in pursuit of Villa.
That's awful. Did you end up catching Villa?
Villa proved impossible to catch. He cleverly pulled General Pershing deeper into Mexico, alarming Carranza, who insisted that America withdraws. My general's troops had several clashes with Mexico's regulars, and for a brief period in June 1916, war seemed imminent. But I acted bravely and wisely and recalled my troops in 1917, leaving Mexico to work out its own destiny.
Well, thank you for joining us on set. It was very interesting to hear all of this.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Well, that's all the time we have. Oh wait, we have some breaking news. It seems that war has erupted into Europe. Here with more information, our field reporter Luis Rodriguez. Luis, can you tell me more on what has happened?
Well, it seems this all started on June 28, 1914, when Gavrilo Princip, a young student from Sarajevo, assassinated the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the imperial throne.
Why did Princip do this?
Well, he was part of a Serbian terrorist organization, the Black Hand, in order to further the cause of Serbian nationalism, which instead caused a massive war in Europe.
And who joined the fight?
Well, you see, Daniel, the war is being fought between two sides of Central Powers, consisting of Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Ottoman Turkey, fighting against the Allied Powers, who was made up of Great Britain, France, and Russia.
And what is the reaction of the American people?
It caught them psychologically unprepared, as few understood its significance. President Wilson ordered a proclamation of neutrality and asked citizens to be impartial in thought.
Why did the U.S. seek to remain neutral?
Well, over a third of the U.S. population were either European-born or children of European immigrants. Americans' involvement would cause new internal stresses in society.
So, did the people end up taking sides?
Yes, the people of German and Austrian descent, about 8 million and 4.5 million Irish Americans, who had a hate for British, sympathized with the Central Powers, while most of the people preferred an Allied power victory. And when the Germans launched an assault from neutral Belgium to outflank the French armies, many Americans were outraged.
Did any European countries try to influence America?
Yes, the Allied powers to exaggerated tales of German barbarities against the Belgian civilians. The Germans also tried to use propaganda, but only won a few converts.
Well, thank you for that very useful information, Luis. Well, that is all the time we have today. Check back next week for more reports. This is WNC World News. I'm Daniel Rivas. Good night.
Audio Jungle.